So one of my worst habits is regulating my time on my phone, especially in times where it's really meaningless to be on that stupid little square that's in our pockets. Whether I'm at the gym, before bed, or just mindlessly waiting for some appointment or a friend to show up, I have a hard time managing it, and I feel like I'm not the only one, so I'm making this video. Personally, as an artist who likes posting pretty things online, I love the validation that we get from the devices or the apps that the phone has. Instagram, TikTok, whatever you use, there are things that give you dopamine. They feel good. The problem is that those apps are hyper intrusive to our mental health. So I picked up two things to help me navigate those things to hopefully improve mine, and maybe it'll help you. Those two things are Brick and Loop. Brick is basically a tiny device that you can magnetize to something else, and it locks you out of apps on your phone. The benefit about using this thing is that you can either block specific apps, and you can also only use certain apps depending on how you set it up. The way I use mine is I block all of the time suck ones. You know which ones are bad for you, and I also make sure that I'm on a schedule between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. pretty much after breakfast and just after dinner. The other thing I use is Loop. They're these tiny little earplugs that I use when I am working and making stuff. These little earplugs have honestly given me an emotional experience when I put them in for the very first time, and I use them at concerts and while I'm working on my art stuff. I was honestly really surprised when I put them in because all the sounds that I hear living in Los Angeles were basically knocked out, and I could just hyper focus. Now, I'm not sponsored to say any of this, but as someone who does experience a lot of ADHD tendencies and seeks external validation as an artist, I have found that it has brought me back so much more focus and pleasure in the things that I actually enjoy doing versus spending a lot of time on my phone. Let's be real, at the end of the day, we're going to care significantly more about the art we make, the projects we work on, and the people we get to spend time with. I will say I'm not perfect when it comes to managing my willpower and regulating my habits around my phone, but these apps and tools have helped me because it brings me closer to the things that I'm actually aligned with for my goals, for the things I want to do with my life, and for my friends who also may share some of the same ADHD tendencies that I have. I hope that you can hopefully spend some time focusing on that stuff versus the things that ultimately don't bring you joy. So I wanted to make this video about something that's been really helping me, and hopefully it'll help you. And as always, I'll leave it with the final tip: 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Goodbye, my friends. Bye.